Welcome back, I'm the Watch Nerd. On today's video, we're going to talk about Homage watches. I have a Cyma Daytona in front of me, and we'll talk about that because it's not really called the Daytona. But we'll talk about all my opinions on Homage watches because there's a difference between a fake watch and a Homage watch, and there's lots of layers of it too. But before I flip you around, before I get into it, I do want to announce my Chanel chain giveaway. I've been doing this for weeks now on all my videos because as soon as we have 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to give it out to you for free. And all the you have to follow the 4 steps in the description. I also want to thank all our new subscribers out there. I want to welcome you to the channel. All your comments have been super helpful, and I really like hearing and responding. I have really one of the best base out there for watches. I like how you guys are as much passionate about this watching me as I am making this, so I really like that.
Now, turning ourselves around, I think you can get Daytona vibes right now. Now, the Cyma, it's a company with horology. Some of these watches go for actual big money on chrono. They're very vintage. I think they were huge in the 60s, 50s, even 40s. They were big. They actually used to make their own movements, if I'm correct. I was doing a bit of research before this. This video is not really a review of this watch because yeah, it would be like a Daytona review, but at the same time, this watch is built to be compared to a Daytona. Flipping on that chronograph there, as you can see, it's Swiss made, so it's not some Chinese one. But even though the Chinese ones, they're just because something's made in China doesn't mean it's bad in this category. So now let's first talk about Homage. So Homage is basically taking the original watch and using it as inspiration. There's different levels to this. There's the level where they do something different. Here, I think it's not completely different, but they have changed it enough where it's not a complete copy of the Daytona. You see a different type of bracelet with a high polish actually on the outside and brush on the middle there. We see the high polish famous bezel units per hour, but it's displayed in a different way. We also have the second hand on the left position there of the 3 subdials. Then we have minutes on the right, and the bottom is the hour indicator. Now that would be on like the Zeniths are in that era, and then the newer ones of Rolex. I'm talking Rolex. The movements, the new ones are down at the 6 o'clock position. But this is definitely, it's not really comparison. This is just about, this is basically all, my opinion on all Homage watches. So personally, me as my collecting experience, I know a lot of people don't want to go out and spend, what, 30, 25,000 Daytona, even if you get lucky at retail, 12,000, that's still a lot of money. And this is a fraction of the price. I think this is trending around the $800 mark, $700 mark on the internet. You can find these around, but that's a fraction of a Daytona. Yeah, there's no Daytona out there that is triple that. So you're not, this is not in the price category. This is not competing, but this looks like a Daytona in a lot of ways. You see their famous screw down pushers here. It's a screw down crown here. The movement is a 7750. That's an ETA. That's an ETA movement. So I don't know. This one, I felt ETAs in Tag Heuers and they feel better than this. If that makes any sense. I'm trying to describe it the best I can. I will let you listen to the rotor. So I got some comments on my last one about the Submariner and their new ball, the ball bearer movement in Rolex, like their new in-house. And I could not hear that, but I want you to listen to the rotor noise on this. I definitely can hear it very loud. It's a very loud rotor. And if you even just listen to the ticking while the chronograph is on, it's very, very loud. It's not a quiet movement. You can also tell it really doesn't kind of fit into the case. It kind of jerves out, and you also get the copy of the Rolex case back. So a lot of this is copied. But at the same time, these watches, this brand, I should say, not this watch, but this brand made beautiful, I believe they used to even make in-house movements back in the 60s. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was reading that they made in-house movements. They had a great dress line, and I guess they were falling on hard times, as a lot of watches were in the 80s, 70s, and they started making these. This is actually, I believe, even later. This is more of a newer piece because Daytonas originally weren't so hot, so I guess they took it maybe 80s here, 90s on this piece. And as you could see, they did not sign the crown, and they did not do certain details you would like in a certain piece. It is a milled clasp though, but I just want to show you very quickly. There's 4 micro adjust, but okay, if we don't use the actual fold over clasp, safety clasp, it comes off. Like if I wore this, it would fall off, and I'm not even pushing on it. You can see again. So the quality has definitely gone downhill from their earlier pieces, because they used to be. I've heard. I've never held one of their earlier pieces, but I've heard they're very, very high quality. They had in-house movements. They were a big brand, and this is what happened. So now this leads me into the category of all. I think Homage watches, personally me, are a great way to get the look and aesthetic of the real piece. Well, this is a real piece too, but of like they say the Daytona, for instance, or another piece like that. It's to get sort of a feel for it, but at the same time, you want if you own this piece, you want a Daytona. And I feel that with this piece. Like if I own this, I would just want the Daytona. Like I wouldn't even want this, and that's the feeling I get with a lot of Homage watches. The point is, with Homage watches, it's a cheaper thing than the original. These are great watches. This watch is not a bad quality watch. I'm not gonna say great, but it's not a bad quality watch. The build quality is pretty great. 316L stainless steel. It has a kind of cool bracelet. It has certain things, sapphire crystal. You're getting things that are in a higher end watches, which you expect. I think the retail's around 15 on this piece, if I'm not mistaken, around that era. That's interesting, Homage watches, but it's not something I would personally go after. If you own one of these pieces, that's great, and you're happy with it, that's fantastic. But I know a little bit of you who owns this watch. A little part of you really wants the original, and I think there's enough changes with this particular piece to make it say it's a Homage. But the ones that are exact, especially fakes, because those are never buy a fake. I would take this over a fake watch any day. If one said Rolex, and even if it was the best fake in the world that nobody could tell, I would still rather have this than a fake watch. I'm really against that. But I would love to hear your opinions on these type of pieces. Do you like them? One other interesting thing is you see the build quality not so good on these pieces. It's only 50 meters of water resistance on this piece with screw down pushers, and I'll show you the screw down crown one more time. I find that really interesting. So I guess those don't actually work in the screw down way. And if I pop it out there, we pop out the crown, it is unscrewed there. So this is one of the pieces where it's there, right? It's an interesting story. You wear it. Somebody says, "Oh, you're wearing a Daytona." You say no. The chronograph actions, it's in ETA. I find this ETA actually really not superb. I find it a little, if I go here, it's just, I don't know. I don't find it that amazing, this ETA, or that smooth. But that's my personal opinion on this one. So that's this particular piece. But every watch you encounter, if it's big, I'm talking like Patek Philippe, Nautilus, Royal Oak, for instance, Bulova Royal Oak. That's an interesting piece. That I think that's a little cooler than this, because they add their own little shtick. It's a quartz piece and everything. They have their own type of thing. This just basically uses an ETA, little worse build quality and everything like that. It's a bit different, but it's the same idea. As long as you're not buying a fake piece, I think that's okay. I personally think that's okay. I would love to know your opinions in the comments down below. What do you think about these type of pieces? watches that change enough, because, Daytona doesn't look like this exact dial. There are some that look, a bit different, but there's a bit different changes, I should say. But what do you think about this type of this issue? Because a lot of people have real issues with it. I'm not so much. I personally kind of think the Bullivo Royal Oak is pretty cool. This watch, it's interesting piece, but it's not crazy horology. They're older pieces. I'll pop up a few of their older pieces really quick. Those are really, really cool, and they demand a premium there. It's a very old company here too. I'm going to address the elephant in the room here. This is a Daytona kind of homage. Then we have something called Pagani Design, which that I personally wouldn't recommend. Now, I understand they have ceramic in that. This is more like an older one, and the build quality is pretty amazing. But at the same time, that's just a plain Rolex. This is different. This is type of thing. So I prefer this over that. Even though it's great quality and everything, but I've heard, issues with them and this and that. But I'm not saying they're bad. I personally haven't had one. I was thinking about purchasing one for the channel, but there's so many watches I do want to go over and so many things. So if you have any suggestions for my next video, I'm thinking about, I have an Omega Pre-Moon. So I think about reviewing that one, because that's actually a really cool piece, hand winding movement, and one of the best chronographs. So thinking about another chronograph video. And I really want to hear your opinions on Homage pieces. I really, really do, because Homage is a big debate with me, and I talk to people about it. Some people like it, some people don't. Typically, the people that like it own a Homage watch. Typically, the people that don't like it have the original before it was Homage. So it's a whole debate. Have a fantastic day. I hope you all had a great holidays. Christmas already passed now, and if you got any watches, I would love to hear them in the comments down below. Any cool holiday gifts. I also want to hear that. I want to thank you all. I will definitely catch you in the next one. Have a fantastic day, and I'm definitely going to post soon in Omega. Thanks, and I'll catch you in the next one.